Hi, and welcome back to Inner Health Journey. My name is Cami. Today I thought I'd bring you along in my kitchen as I make my family's favorite bread recipe. I found this recipe many years ago on allrecipes.com, and I will link the recipe down below. To begin, we're going to go ahead and proof the yeast. To do this, we will need 2 cups of warm water. We will add that to our dough maker. I will add a 1/3 cup, a total of 2/3 cup sugar, 1½ tablespoons of yeast. The importance of proofing your yeast is just to make sure that your yeast is good and that your dough, your bread dough, will rise. We will give this a quick mix. And I'll go ahead and let this proof for 10 minutes. It's been about 10 minutes and our yeast is proof, so we'll move on to adding the additional ingredients. It's 1/4 cup of oil. And for the flour, I use a mixture of bread flour and all-purpose flour. The recipe does call for just bread flour, but I like the mixture of the all-purpose flour and bread flour. So I'm going to do 3 cups all-purpose, 3 cups of bread flour, and the last ingredient is salt. We'll add 1½ teaspoons. Now that we have all the ingredients together, I will go ahead and knead the dough for 15 minutes and ferment for 1.5 hours in my machine. The dough has been rising for about an hour now, and so we will go ahead and get this out of our dough maker. It has definitely doubled in size. We're going to punch it down and get it out of here. So I have 2 different bread pans. I have this bread pan, which is a large square loaf pan, which I love, and I can link that down below. And my cast iron pan. So this dough recipe, this bread recipe, will make 2 regular size loaves, but since we have this larger bread pan, I use a little bit more than half of the dough to fill this bread pan. With this dough, I've used this dough to make cinnamon raisin bread. I've used it to make cinnamon rolls. It works wonderful for all of those things because it's slightly sweetened. Not overly sweet, but it works good for those applications. So I just roll out my bread dough. Get the air bubbles out. I'm trying to make it a little bit longer than my bread pan. From there, I'll just roll it up. I like to pull and roll, pull and roll. When I get to the end, I just pinch the ends in. And then I just roll it like so. Try to get it nice and even. Then I'll take my bread pan, push it down in there. And there's loaf number 1. And I repeat the same thing for the next loaf. When I started cooking from scratch, bread was the first thing I learned how to make. I love making homemade bread, all different kinds. Again, the same thing, get it in the bread pan and I just smush it down. I'm gonna cover these with a flour sackcloth. When the bread in the larger pan gets about an inch from the top, I'll go ahead and put the lid on it and we will bake these then. And I will bring you back when it's time to put them in the oven. So the bread is done rising. I might have forgotten to tell you, prior to me putting in the dough, I did have my daughter grease the pans for me with butter. We're gonna go ahead and slide the top on this one. This one's ready to go. I did preheat the oven to 350 degrees and I will put these in for 30 minutes. The bread looks good. We're gonna try to get it out of the bread pan. Ooh, this one came out fairly easily. Well, and we will just butter the top of this bread. This is the one that we will eat right away. This is our sandwich bread. Turned out a little lighter than it normally does, but it will still be great to eat. This is the hard part. You have to wait until it cools down to cut into it. This is what the bread looks like inside. If you try this recipe, let me know. Leave a comment down below. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you could, like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Thanks and have a great day. Bye.